Delhi is in big trouble. In fact, the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal himself said this in a video message just yesterday. He also went on to announce something that has become very contentious and has caused outrage on social media and elsewhere. He's saying that Delhi government hospitals and private hospitals in Delhi will cater to only the residents of Delhi, whereas the central government hospitals would treat anybody. Now, this decision, what's the wisdom of this decision? Is it justified? And given the kind of situation that we are in, is there any way to rationalize it? I'm going to call on Tushar Gupta to give his thoughts.
Hey Karan. Karan, of the trillion promises Arvind Kejriwal made to the people of Delhi, one of them has unfortunately turned out to be true yesterday and today. That of making the city like London. Because for people who are not residents of Delhi on their Aadhaar or voter IDs, the healthcare infrastructure in Delhi is as inaccessible as that of the city of London. So this is unfortunate. But jokes apart, what he said is that the Delhi state hospitals, the Delhi hospitals under the Delhi state, and the private hospitals also have to reserve a certain number of beds for the residents of Delhi. Now, this is wrong on two accords. Firstly, I'll just talk about the constitutional way. Article 14, in terms of equality before the law, this order by Arvind Kejriwal wouldn't be valid if it was taken to the courts. Secondly, Article 21, right to healthcare, is something which the Supreme Court has also recognized. So I don't understand how something like this coming from the Delhi state government can actually make any sense. Now, here's a third problem. There's a concept called triage. Now, that is the process of sorting patients based on their need for immediate medical treatment compared to their chance of benefiting from such a treatment. Now, this was listed under the National Disaster Management Guidelines on Management of Biological Disasters. This were issued in 2008 under the National Disaster Management Agency. By the National Disaster Management Agency under the Disaster Management Act of 2005. Fairly technical, but what it essentially says that the triage, it has to be the decision has to be taken at a hospital level by clinical teams. So if we are actually in a situation where we have to reserve hospitals for certain residents of certain city or certain localities, or we have to be in a situation where we have to make sure that certain beds in certain hospitals have to be reserved for patients, that decision needs to be taken on a hospital level by clinical teams, by people with skin in the business. Something like that cannot be taken up. It categorically does not state anything about the state government or any union territory government taking such a law into their own hands. So, of course, Kejriwal would be looking to implement this order by an administration decree or something on those sorts. But in terms of legality, it can be challenged, and for the greater good, it must be challenged.
Right. Tushar, what about the moral basis for this decision? Because one is, of course, the legality, which you have so wonderfully cleared. But now we are in a pandemic situation. There is the virus is not really picking and choosing based on whether you live in Haryana or Chandigarh or. So then, why should the political leader be making a decision along those lines?
See, that's what I don't understand. People who are residing on the outskirts of Delhi, say in Noida, say in Gurugram, say in Sonipat, Panipat, all these are Ghaziabad, all these are cities which are right next to Delhi. They share a border with Delhi. Then there are cities which are little away from Delhi, like Chandigarh is away from Delhi, Panipat, Kurukshetra, Ambala, a lot of other cities. These are cities which have people which often turn to Delhi when it comes to accessing healthcare infrastructure. Now, Karan, it's important to understand Delhi has one of the best healthcare infrastructure in northern India. So it's not very uncommon for people from as north as Jammu and Kashmir to come down to Delhi for their treatment. And not just for COVID-19, it can be for cancer, it can be for other ailments. So people of Delhi, the healthcare infrastructure of Delhi has always been something which has been, accessed by people from all parts of North India. And even I know friends who come from Northeast, the states of Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, for their own medical consultancy to Delhi. So it's not like Delhi is just about COVID-19 at this point. There are patients who are undergoing chemotherapies, there are patients who are undergoing dialysis, there are patients undergoing tons of other treatments. So just to say that, the hospitals will just be accessible to residents of Delhi is wrong. Now the interesting part was that Kejriwal based this decision on the 7.5 lakh people who apparently answered some sort of a survey. Now he said that we asked the people of Delhi. It was a very clever way of shifting the responsibility to the people of Delhi, because you cannot go and pick and hold of all the 7.5 lakh people who must have participated in that survey. But here's the fun point. 7.5 lakh is not even 5% of the population of Delhi. So, how is this anyway justified? If we are going to take administrative decisions based on surveys which are so opaque in terms of their data, this sets a wrong example for the future. The other thing is the administration of Delhi made very lofty promises. Today, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of officially 20,000 active cases. Kejriwal went on air, said that Delhi is prepared to handle 30,000 active cases. So we are on just two-thirds the number. So why now? Is there something the Delhi government is hiding? Are the cases actually more than they're actually being said? Are there more deaths which are being underreported? The irony of all this is, Karan, that Kejriwal, each time he has a cough, he runs to Bangalore for a long treatment. He had a home in Ghaziabad, which falls under Uttar Pradesh. He hails from Haryana. He fought his first Lok Sabha election from Varanasi against Narendra Modi. And he wants to win Punjab in 22 as much as he wanted to win in 2017. So what is this really step all about? He's been a citizen of the nation for as long as I remember. He went on air and said that everyone who comes to Delhi is our these are our people. He wanted to help the migrants who were from UP and Bihar. And today he's making a call like this. It's disappointing. It's ironical.
Right. Tushar, one safe assumption that I can make is that the situation in Delhi has gotten so desperate for Arvind Kejriwal to even manage that he's having to take such a decision. But how did it get so desperate in Delhi?
See, I think Delhi lacked preparation. I have to go back a little bit. See, when you spend all your money in the happier times, you have nothing left for your bad times. That's a very simple savings rule we all follow in life. The government did not prepare well. They had the example of Mumbai to look up to. Mumbai, as Delhi, they're very densely populated cities. If you go to areas like Chandni Chowk, you go to residential areas of North Delhi, West Delhi, these are some old parts of Delhi. It's very densely populated. So, of course, the risk of community transmission was always there. Now, what we are reading on Twitter, because at this point we are getting more citizen journalists than actual journalists reporting from the hospitals because of the safety norms and everything. The situation is not good. I am getting phone recordings because I am a resident of Delhi that people have been made to wait for 8 to 10 hours just to get admitted in the hospital. The private healthcare is very expensive. ICUs are charging as much as 1 lakh rupees per day for admission to the ICU with the ventilator. The lack of testing is an issue. People who are showing symptoms aren't being tested readily. People who do not have symptoms and may have come in contact with the person who might have tested COVID-19 were not being tested until recently, as we saw the outrage on Twitter. There are no beds, of course. I have been getting reports. Now, we have to take them at face value, Karan. There's no way of verifying these. We have seen on Twitter. So it's not an accusation, but we have to take these reports on face value. People are complaining about the lack of beds. Dead bodies are taking a while to be disposed of. There was just a report a few days ago that at the Nigam Bodh Ghat, dead bodies have to be burnt together just because there's no wood. There is so little time. So all these things point to a certain problem which is in the entire management of this crisis. Why couldn't Kejriwal set up more hospitals, makeshift hospitals? He's been always vocal about investing in health infrastructure for the right reasons. His mohalla clinics are nowhere to be seen. They're doing the basic testing, but they're doing nothing to curb the community transmission. And we have to trust citizens at this point. Of course, people are going on Twitter, they're tweeting about how they lost their father, their cousins, and so on. Just yesterday, a former parliamentarian wrote about how he lost his niece because he couldn't get her a bed in time. So it's all very disappointing. The situation is surely desperate. And if Kejriwal was prepared to host 30,000 active patients and is losing it at 20,000 active patients, as per the official figures, something is clearly wrong. And it would be helpful for him to come up with the exact data. That's what the best thing that can happen now. Come up with the precise data, share it with the central government, because he's been looking forward to the central government for monetary resources, for salaries and all, and help people of Delhi understand. Karan, one other thing is, what could Kejriwal have done? Instead of putting this rule out that only Delhi people can access health infrastructure of Delhi, he could have requested people of other states that, okay, Delhi has a problem. You should consider the decision of coming to Delhi for your treatment. If there is a viable alternative option in either of the cities around Delhi, or states, consider that. But instead, he chose for such a very irrational sort of a degree. So I'm very surprised.
Right, right. Tushar, going by what you're saying, the situation really looks very dire. So, is there a case to be made then for the center, for instance, to step in? I mean, you saw the center stepping in West Bengal, right? Is there a case for that in Delhi as well?
See, can the center step in and take over the Delhi administration? Yes. Should it? I don't think so. One, via Article 356, the governor can take a call based on his reporting on whatever is going on in Delhi. He can take it up with the president, and if the president thinks it's needed that the presidential rule shall apply in Delhi, it can happen. But it shouldn't be done, even with the legal fault that is there in this entire process. It shouldn't be done because it sets a dangerous example for the future, as much as that rule by Kejriwal does. So I don't think it should be done. But of course, if the situation deteriorates further, if we are looking at somewhere around 100,000 cases and state and center cannot cooperate at all, at some point we'll have to start considering the idea of a presidential rule. Because to find solutions and rules like these where only Delhi residents can access Delhi infra, that's no solution, Karan. That just points out the helplessness, the hopelessness of the administration as a whole. And the other thing is, Delhi is not a city which is very independent in its functioning. The two most busy metro lines, actually, one goes to Haryana, which is Gurgaon, the other one goes to Noida, which is Uttar Pradesh. It is a city of migrants. It is a city of students who have come to study from all over India. It is a city of people who come to work every day, from the lower income groups to the central government employees. All of them come from outside the city. Delhi is a city to a lot of people, not just the residents of Delhi. And to say something like this just is not very good.
Great. Tushar, thank you so much for your insights.
Thanks, Karan.